Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, which means it is vlog day. So let's get into it. Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Shay Michelle, and I'm so happy that you guys are here to join me. First things first, I don't know if you noticed, but my intro was full homage to my very first medical school vlog a few months ago. So after this video, you guys should check that out. But back to everything here. It's Tuesday. Today is clinic day. This is literally the second day back from spring break. And so we have learned every physical exam. We've learned the cardiac physical exam, pulmonary, head, ear, nose, throat, and I feel like some more. Today, our goal is to go to the hospital and just do a complete physical exam on our patients, in addition to doing like a complete history. It's 7 o'clock. I have to be at the hospital by 8 o'clock, so I usually leave here around like 7:45 or something like that. And moral of the story is I just have to bring all my tools, and I honestly think that's the most amusing part of medical school, is the mass of items I have in my white coat. So we're just gonna like flip to that so then you can see. I have my white coat on, and I'm just going to show you everything that's in it. So of course you have to carry around your stethoscope. In addition, I have this history taking book, and so stay on alert because I'm going to do like a med school essentials for people, but honestly this is one of the best books ever. I have these tuning forks because to do the ear exam you like bang them against things, or you really bang them against your elbow and like ask, can you hear this? Can you hear this? And stuff like that. So we have tuning forks for the head, ear, nose, throat, but specifically the like ears. I have my blood pressure cuff in here, and then I have this, we have this cool thing called the purple book here. And so this purple book is just like Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, and it just has everything. It has some like phrases in Spanish, some phrases in Mandarin. It has all of our like everything you need to do a complete medical interview, to do a complete physical examination. This is just, it just has like everything. So you just always have to carry around your purple book. And then I have a granola bar in here because we're at the hospital for 4 hours and I get hungry. So I have my dress clothes on, just normal dress shirt, dress pants, and you remember to have closed-toed shoes. And then yeah, on that note, I'm very excited. Today also happens to be an evaluation day, and evaluation or like student review day. And so I'm actually going to meet personally one-on-one with my teacher and talk about like my performance so far for the semester. It's mid-semester review. But now that I'm realizing, I keep almost knocking down this camera. But now that I realize that I have a decent amount of time, it's 7:10 now, and again, I don't have to be at the hospital till 8, I'm going to just make myself some breakfast, and then we are going to get to it. We're waiting. I'm finally back in my room. It's 11:17, and the reason I'm back so early is because we spent 2 hours in the hospital, and then we did we started our feedback sessions at 10 o'clock technically. Let me tell you guys about the hospital today. We were in the cardiothoracic ward, and moral of the story is I ended up with a patient who had congenital bicuspid aortic stenosis. And the reason I'm so intrigued by that is because we actually learned it in class. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is one of the few times I've gone to the hospital to interview patients and actually have a clue about what they, of the current illness they have. This is something, my patient has been dealing with for her whole life. It's a congenital defect in your bicuspid valve of your heart. And it was cool. I like kind of listened to her different arteries. And so the interesting part is I could actually hear, kind of the effects of the defect in her basically pulse and like movement of blood. So that was honestly a first one for me. I was just kind of shocked. To tell you guys kind of like everything that happened actually in the hospital. Basically, first things first is our teacher actually goes and looks for patients for us to interview. And I realized not a lot of teachers do that. A lot of teachers will just kind of like be like, okay, find a patient. And you just walk in the room, you're like, are you okay to talk? So I kind of like that my teacher Percy goes and asks the patients before us. After our interviews, we walk back to campus. And so usually in this time we would learn kind of like a different physical exam, or we would do our patient presentations. And so the cool thing about patient presentations is sometimes they're 3 minutes, or you'll have the long ones that are 10 minutes. And you literally just, one person talks, we talk about our solo patient, and we just give all of their information. We get their history of present illness, their social history, their review of symptoms. We give their familial history, all past medical history, surgical history. We give everything about this patient because, mind you, I'm in this patient's room for an hour. We all like got feedback today, and luckily I was in the first half of people, so I was done early and now I can chill. For the rest of the day, I have class, and so I am deciding if I'm going to go to a cafe or if I'm gonna go to some type of, if I'm gonna go to lecture, or I'm gonna go, or if I'm just gonna do lecture from my room. I had anatomy yesterday, which was awesome. So we've started, I guess, basically like your abdomen, honestly. And so yesterday we had like a deep dive into the intestines, and like we were looking at the liver, the colon, the stomach, basically everything kind of like your ribs down. We just kind of, we looked at all of that for the the whole lab, and it was the longest lab we've ever had. This lab went from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We have never been in the lab that long, and I am like struggling to open this hummus. Okay. I honestly love Tuesdays. These are by far one of my favorite days of the week because although it is the longest day we have, I just love it because I'm entering medicine to interact with people. I'm entering medicine to like be with patients, talk to people, help people. And so I feel like this is the day you get the constant reminder of like, why are you going into medicine? You're going into medicine to hear these different stories, talk to these different people, get these different perspectives. Because I got out early, I'm going to use my time wisely and hang out for the next hour and a half until class honestly starts. And then I think that I honestly am going to try to catch up on anatomy that happened yesterday because I had no idea what was happening in anatomy. But yeah, I am going to chill, and then we will get back when I figure out school-wise how we're going to navigate this. It is now 2 o'clock, 2:11 to be exact, and I'm actually packing my bag to go to a study room because I think my time best spent at this point would be to do my anatomy notes. Because, for example, when we do anatomy here, we do not take our anatomy test at the same time we take our general, like, just systems block test. We actually take our anatomy test about 2 weeks later, or after we start anatomy. Okay, so in this case, we're taking it 3 weeks later. So that's why I'm just gonna focus my energy, at least for this week, predominantly on anatomy, just because I think that'll just be time well spent, in all honesty. And so yeah, on that note, we are about to make our way to a study room, and we'll probably camp out there for just a few hours. And I hope to finish making all of my randomly nice pictures. I got hungry, and I'm now back in my room to eat this like cool salad combo I just made. And I have this bowl just to like get me excited about eating salads that I got from Amazon. It's 4:30, so I don't know if this is lunch, dinner, it's whatever it is. But more importantly, in the last 2 hours, I've been in the study room making my notes. So we're just going to get into these notes, do a little working lunch, you know. Now we're looking at the abdomen. Basically, just to preface for my notes, especially today, all I look at is the dissection guide that our school gives us. And so the dissection guide is literally just, we have it pulled up when we're in the anatomy lab, and it just gives us like step 1, step 2, step 3, kind of tells us the steps of completing the dissection. And then it will say, oh, make sure you look at this, make sure you look at this. It directly tells us kind of like what we need to know, what structures we need to look at when we're doing things, how we need to cut, all of that jazz. I just look at that when I make my notes because I only want to have the stuff in here that I actually need to know. So on that note, let's go through these notes. But basically, we see abdomen, that's what we're working on, and I'm sure by the end of anatomy, this cover will look a lot more bedazzled than it does now, but this is what we're working with. But here, you can see I just do literally like dissection 1, which was yesterday, and we did abdominal wall, peritoneum, and foregut. And so yeah, I just like make my notes, make little pictures, write things. I like to draw little images and stuff. And so I'm blurring out, but they just give us actual anatomy images of the actual like bodies and cadavers, and yeah, from our donors. And yeah, that's basically all this is. And I'm not gonna lie, towards the end I got a tad bit lazy, and so that's why you see picture, 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 picture. So yeah, I just started putting it in because then, you know, the abdomen is not the heart, it is not the lungs. You can't just Google pictures and get specific images of the pieces of the abdomen. Like, you just, it doesn't work the same, because usually I would be able to find like little images I can base my drawings off of. Yesterday I was pretty overwhelmed in lab. In all honesty, I was just like, these are so many new words, because you don't just know. Like, I knew naturally, like, I know what the aorta is, I knew what like a bicuspid valve was before I did anatomy, but with the abdomen, like, I don't know what the like epiploic foramen is. Like, I've never heard this word. That's why I was like a little bit overwhelmed. But now today I went through all 36 pages. You know, towards the end I got lazy, but disregard. I went through all 36 pages of that anatomy guide, and it just all made a lot more sense. And one cool thing I've been like slowly making my way to say is that it's very straightforward. It's more like, it's literally like hepatogastric artery. Like, okay, that told me exactly what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the artery between the liver to the stomach, you know? So that's one thing I'm being very appreciative for, because without that, I don't know how I would have memorized all this stuff. It's 4:30. For the rest of the day, I think I'm going to try to catch up on the lectures that actually happened today, because technically I'm a day behind. Like, we had anatomy yesterday and I'm doing it today, and then we also had, I think, 3 or 4 lectures today, but instead of doing those lectures or going to lectures / watching those lectures, I did anatomy. So I'm a day behind, but mind you, a day is not bad at all. That's what we have the weekend for. On that note, I'm gonna eat, and then I'll be back with the next moves. It is 6:30 and we are slowly approaching the time of day when productivity reaches 0. But I will preface, that's okay. I feel like that's okay anytime you don't have a test for at least 2 weeks, because you got time. It's okay. In the last, I think, 30 or so minutes, I've just been organizing all of my lectures and like PowerPoints and things like that teachers put out for actual classes. I don't know why my words are failing me right now, and now what I'm going to do is my patient write-up. So basically, anytime we go to the hospital, we have to do a patient write-up, and that is just kind of the formal document that every physician does anytime they ever see a hospital. Anytime a physician sees a patient, they have to do a write-up on it in order to document the encounter, basically. And so in this write-up, I just basically write down everything kind of that could somewhat be important to the case. We get 48 hours after our encounter with the patient to do our patient write-up and submit it to our teacher. And what I like to do is on the first day, so like tonight, I like to just write down all the information I have, just because it's fresh in my mind, and even if I don't have something written down, I can like kind of remember what was said. And then on the second day, so tomorrow, I like to just fine tune all my writings and make it more professional, and then submit it. I always do a schedule send. I'm like a schedule send girl when it comes to Google emails, but schedule send it to send at 8 a.m. on the day that it's due. So technically that's always Thursdays, because we always go to the hospital on Tuesdays. I'm just gonna write down all of the information from my book and from my memory that I have in regards to my encounter today. And then we are going to approach the ending of our day. Just like that, we are 10 minutes away from 8 p.m. I just finished adding all of the information about my patient to my actual write-up. And so yeah, theoretically I'm done for the day. I'm clocking out. Tomorrow I will actually look back at everything, finalize it, and then schedule send my email, because I love schedule sending. I have another email schedule sent for tomorrow. And then yeah, other than that, I have anatomy again tomorrow, and I won't lie, I did not prepare in advance for it, but I don't know, I feel like it corresponds to my learning style. It just confuses me when I look at things before I can like see them, so I'd rather just wait. I don't know why I'm clutching this water bottle, but I am about to hang out, watch TV, and do everything my heart desires until I feel like going to sleep. But again, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. So yeah, we've learned so much since my first vlog, and I'm feeling reminiscent.